Last time we visited Sanctuary, I wasn't really sure how I felt about Diablo IV's story evolution, or really about the game's state as a whole. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about it, but at least this time there's light on the horizon. Without further delay, delve into the hatred's darkness and find out our thoughts on Diablo IV's Lord of Hatred expansion.
Mephisto, pay for this.
We both will, my friend. We both will.
Lord of Hatred starts out in a fairly curious way. Our old friend Lorith returns and wants to help you track down Nael, because Akarat has been revived and is spreading Mephisto's false prophecy across the lands of Skovos. This area is run by the Amazon Queen and her Oracle, and contains some of the more interesting types of areas that we've seen throughout the game thus far. You'll battle across piratescapes, mangled forests, and active volcanoes. It's a nice addition that helps the map feel more fleshed out, even if it does get a little bit confusing remembering which things are in which areas. Eventually, in this new journey, you'll discover the only way you can face Mephisto is to awaken the literal demon within. With the help of the Amazonian Oracle, you delve into the deepest parts of your soul and awaken the contained daughter of hatred, Lilith. The story is passable, but it suffers from the questionable at best pacing, and some writing that may have you questioning why several of the events that happened through the overarching story even happened in the first place. To keep things spoiler-free, I'll just say that I wouldn't have gone the route they went, and I'm less than thrilled with the conclusion, despite this being the first time in Diablo IV that you actually get a semblance of closure. There's definitely a sense of finality in Lord of Hatred that's desperately been missing throughout Diablo IV's timeline, but I'm worried future story editions may not feel natural given the way this one plays out. If you're a fan of the Diablo franchise, you'll find some nice little Easter eggs scattered throughout the Lord of Hatred's expansion. There's a section where you're basically curb-stomping demons and the remnants of what was once Travanthal, and if you listen closely in one section, you might hear a familiar tune that'll make you want to stay a while and listen. There's a fun section where you revisit areas from Diablo's past, including the archive of Zotan Kul, the sewers beneath the Karast Bazaar, and a few other places that make you go, oh yeah, I remember that part. Perhaps the biggest reason to pick up the Lord of Hatred expansion is the addition of two new character classes to Diablo IV, the Paladin and the Warlock. Diablo IV's Paladin is a super fun revamp that melds the Diablo II Paladin with the best parts of the Diablo III Crusader, and the result is a powerhouse just as much fun to play for utility as he is for damage. Diablo IV's Warlock isn't nearly as hilariously broken and overpowered as the version that appeared in Diablo II Resurrected, but he's still pretty strong. Aside from the new classes, Lord of Hatred also comes with some much needed redesign as skill paths feel more varied instead of the buy this and then go buy 40 passive stats that help it not suck. And I was able to pick up the skill that allowed me to summon an evil eye that would blast enemies and debuff them. With only a few points, I was able to alter it and ensure that it stacks damage onto its targets while I enhanced my generator ability to spread the debuffs across the hordes. This was quite literally a 3-point wonder skill, and it felt great to finally be able to only invest a few points into one skill for utility, instead of needing to waste a chunk of points maximizing the surrounding nodes that I didn't really even want in order to get to the next section. There's also a few endgame quality of life updates that are introduced in Lord of Hatred, more interestingly, the war plans. Using the war plan table, you could choose which activities to complete, and plan out your rewards at a glance. This is so much more interesting than simply farming the Helltide for 2 hours and praying that the Ember chests offer gear slots that you're actively searching for. There's also Echoing Hatred, which puts the upper echelon builds to the ultimate test, but I ran out of time testing because I was having fun running around playing with the new fishing minigame. Truthfully, I probably also spent way too much time messing around with the new talisman feature and trying to figure out how to use that thing that's been glaringly absent that finally gets around to showing up in order to produce new seals and charms for it too, but I'm easily distracted by shiny things. Speaking of shiny things, Diablo IV has probably got some of the coolest cosmetics now with the recent Doom The Dark Ages collab. It's still really difficult that anyone spends money on platinum for the sake of having armor sets that show off to the relatively small amount of players you'll encounter. At the end of the day, I'm pretty convinced that Diablo IV's overarching story concludes with the Lord of Hatred expansion. While I'm not crazy about how it plays out, it's passable even if it does slightly retcon itself. And it's certainly more interesting than the something major is gonna happen, but not now that Vessel of Hatred pulled. The Paladin and Warlock are welcome additions to the class selection, and the revamp of the skill trees make everything feel fresh again. It no longer feels like there's only one class worth playing, and there's still an issue that several classes still feel samey, but that's a discussion that I'm not even going to start to delve into here. Overall, Diablo IV Lord of Hatred is a sizable, fun, and worthwhile expansion. If you're upgrading from the base game and didn't buy the previous expansion, you'll be thrilled to find out that it comes included if you buy Lord of Hatred, which makes the asking price a bit easier to swallow.